What's up, boys? Knocking out some Q&A. Hydrating with Protect. Dude. This is not a shameless plug. I was literally just going to do this. I figured I'd just show you guys. You guys haven't checked these dudes out. The honor man of me in Cole's Buds class, Nick Norris. Arguably the greatest physical specimen that's ever graced the SEAL teams with their presence. Is one of the co-founders and owners. He's a freak. I'll maybe drop a link in there. Check these dudes out. They send a bunch of stuff to try, and like everything else, I'm kind of the guinea pig. So to see if it actually works, I'm just gonna drink one a day, every day, for probably like 2 months, and just see if I feel better. And then I'm gonna try 2 a day and see if that's any better. It's got a bunch of cool sodium, potassium, magnesium. I've got headaches anyway, so I already take it. So a lot of this stuff is kind of just, I don't know, a little bit in addition to what I already take. I have been messing around with just a half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan sea salt straight in a bottle of water, like 2 ounces, and shake it up and just shoot it like a shot glass.
Really?
Stole that from Stan Efferding. He's been playing around.
What's the benefits?
Dude, I don't know, man. Like, he swears by it. He said he's been giving it to his athletes to get better results pre-lift, so I've been doing it. I take creatine in the morning too, so maybe that's helping as a carrier group, because I feel like that creatine is in my body faster when I do it. So I didn't do it this morning, and I noticed a significant delay. Like, we were probably 3 or 4 sets in before I finally felt like, okay.
It kicked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when I do it with the salt water at the same time, I feel like it's a flood immediately. I don't know. Bernie can speak to it better. I'll ask the man, the myth, the legend when I see him. But yeah, Stan Efferding was talking about pink Himalayan sea salt just to like really rehydrate the body, replenish some electrolytes. So I don't know. I've been trying that though. It tastes pretty fucking good too. That's really,
Yeah.
that's 3/4 of the issue, man. Like, most of it tastes like trash.
It does.
Well, but I feel like, I don't know, it doesn't give that slimy ass aftertaste. Yeah, it doesn't have that. So
It's clean.
yeah, clean burn. All right, boys. So we went to SHOT Show, and me and Cole are gonna do a wrap up video. But holy shit, that was exhausting. It was exhausting 3 days. A lot of good meetings, a lot of good connections, a lot of overseas stuff. Met a bunch of really cool special forces dudes from all over the place. That's always super cool. And yeah, we'll do a wrap up on that later. But want to knock out some Q&A stuff just because I owe it to you guys. So let's see. George wants to know, what was your typical day in a team life after you came back from deployment, garrison life, you know, as you would say? Typically we land, we drop off guns, whatever sensitive shit we have in there, and we all go home. Take a 4-day weekend, 5-day weekend, and we come back in, basically inventory everything, soup to nuts, every laser, every optic, because everybody has multiple sets. You know, you got a set of Panos, a set of 31s, a set of PVS 15s, you know, from a bunch of other shit. 6 different carbines or whatever you have, you know, usually 2 different lowers, 4 uppers, bunch of pistols, suppressors, all that kind of stuff. You got to make sure you have all that shit. And then anybody who's checking out of the team or going on to a different place, you turn in all your stuff, and then it's kind of like a reconfigure. And then guys that go to schools. Guys want to go to some jump course, so they want to go to Red Rocks and go climbing for, you know, 3 weeks. Guys go to Norway and they do teleskiing or whatever they want to do. Guys go do that. And they come back, and it's kind of just a normal, it's like an office job for a lot of it. Instead of doing TPS reports, you're doing travel claims, and you're submitting shit to try to buy 5,000 fucking plate carriers. I don't know. You're doing like random weird shit, and every single person in that building is working on a trip that they're about to run. So like, I'd run a jump trip, so I'm getting hotel rooms for, you know, 80 people. I'm getting flights for 80 people if we're not taking our own plane. Got to get the rental cars for that many people. How many people per rental car? You know, where are we staying at? Where are we getting food at? What's the gym situation look like? What's the membership look like? You know, print out, literally when everybody gets off the airplane, there's a car pulled up with your name on it, and there's keys to the hotel room you're staying in. Everything's already been checked in. You walk in straight to your room. So it's like that first class service. That's kind of how the trips are, and it takes a lot to plan that shit. So that's why, I mean, outside of training days, you know, you show up 5:30 a.m., do fitness, walk over, eat chow, go back up, take a shower, get dressed, and do a meeting. And it's either planning a trip or it's a training event. So a 3-4 hour block of CQB, eat lunch, go back, do it again. Or CQB in the morning, shoot in the afternoon, or shooting, CQB, CQB. And then, you know, we try to do a pretty decent time on Friday. Wednesday, Thursday, you probably getting the screws put to you. So late night working, you know, it's not uncommon to go till 2 or 3 in the morning. You wake back up at 5 and do the whole thing again. Some guys just sleep in their cage. I had a hammock strung like mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, there's no sense in going home. Like, I live 15 minutes away from work, and it just got to the point where you're like, for what? To go back home and take a shower? Like, I'm going to take a shower right here. I might as well just pass out.
Yeah.
I'll get 3 hours of decent sleep, vice an hour 15 if I go home and do the whole thing. I'm going to wake up the old lady, do the whole thing. Like, fuck that. Just stay there. But the days are, I mean, they're pretty much set in stone, man. Everybody's rolling through the gate before 6 a.m. No. Yeah, I mean, it's like an office job, just cooler. A lot cooler people doing cooler shit. All right, let's do this one. For dudes that are constantly trying to improve every day, what are some of the New Year's resolutions you guys are doing? Me and Davis and Vernon, we decided we were going to do no sweets, no desserts for a calendar year. So no creme brulee at the end of a meal. No donuts, no pastries of any sort. I guess you can do like a croissant, but yeah, like we're not eating cupcakes. We're not doing, you know. I like white trash candy, man. Like I like Swedish fish. I like Laffy Taffy. I like shit like that. And I haven't had any in 24 days.
You're not a chocolate guy? No.
I mean, I will. Like, I don't really care. It's just, sometimes I just need something right. My metabolism's pretty fucking fast.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just get hurting, dude. I'll just start sweating. Like, I could eat something right now. And I'll just gorge eat. Try to get some sugar in me. But now, other than that, we talked about trying to bench press 400 pounds this year. It's like the last year my shoulder will take it. And I don't know, man. My left one is acting real funny. I don't know what we hit the other day. I think it was like 345 or 350 the other day, and it was hurting pretty good. We'll see. We pulled some heavy weight today, though.
What'd you do?
I think it was.
Did 4, didn't you?
I think it was 450. Oh no, we did. I think I did 335 for a set of 5. Yeah, the last one. I don't know, it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The deadlift's getting better though.
What were you at deadlift? 4?
It was 455 for a set of 5.
I wish I can do that, man. It's an ego, dude. Because like the stuff I used to be able to do that like 595.
Oh.
Now I'm like 225. I'm struggling.
Yeah, dude. Like,
but I've been off for a while, so.
Yeah, like my knees are hurting so bad right now.
They do.
I'm just gonna try to get it before I really go tits up. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's realistic, something I can get to, but something that requires a little bit of discipline. Nothing crazy because my life already kind of revolves around being somewhat disciplined. But I mean, a measurable chunk. Like if I just cut out desserts and I work out the same way I do and I eat pretty much the same thing, moderately clean, realistic, you know, will I get an improvement? We'll see. We'll do an update in February and see where we're at. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. My weight's holding strong. I'm like 217. I like to be up at 225, 230. But we'll see. Yeah, the whole point of a New Year's resolution is to make something you can actually stick to. I'm like, I'm gonna bench press 600 pounds. Like, no, you're fucking. No, you're not. Yeah, when it gets something I can actually get to. Ooh. This'll upset everybody. Nick wants to know, I've seen you guys using Cobalt Kinetics, BCM, Knights. What sponsorships aside, what AR platform is your go-to? We're not sponsored by any AR platform. So regardless of what the internet or
that's what people think,
or what that fucking child might say, yeah, we're not sponsored by any carbine companies. We can run wherever the fuck we want to. I will say right now, fuck man,
it's hard.
I need to switch a break on the Cobalt. But I think right now, just overall, that Cobalt's hard to beat. For the price point, you can't beat that BCM. You just can't. Especially if you put that one with that proof research barrel in it. I haven't shot a carbine better than that. I just haven't. But that lockup on that Cobalt, dude, it is, man. Like, that fucker feels like you could just beat someone to death with it. I don't know. It's really, really nice. You know, that KC is great. It's heavy. Got to go to the gym to wield it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it just is. It's heavy. But I mean, it's nice. Like, you get what you pay for. Like, that gun's never had a malfunction. It's never thought about having a malfunction. Ain't never gonna have one. I mean, really, like, what you're buying, to me, dude, I'm not a fucking gun guy. Let me just say that one more time. Like, this ain't my realm. I ain't into all that stuff. I'm just not. I just build whatever carbine to whatever spec until I go, ooh, that thing is really, really nice to shoot. And then I hand it over to other people and they're like, oh my God. Yeah, man, all I did was add an extra weight to my H2 buffer. Check that out. And they're like, it's amazing. Like, yeah, I know. It's crazy. Those guns all kind of shoot themselves, man.
They do.
Like, that BCM's just so light that when you throw it around, you almost, I don't want to say this, but I will. You almost lose respect for it because it feels like a fucking airsoft gun. But it is not. Like, that thing is nasty. We shot the other day with no optics on it. I mean, it's great.
Yeah.
Got a Geisley 2-stage in it. Geisley buffer. But yeah, I mean, like, I tell everybody that BCM is like a Toyota Hilux. Just get in and drive. Just go. You can go anywhere you want to go, any terrain you want to go to. They're great. That night's, yeah, I mean, it'll last forever if you can find one or afford one. Lucky enough, we got a bunch of them. I mean, they're fucking great. But it ain't for everybody because most people can't afford it. I think that Cobalt is a pretty good in between. Like, I mean, it ain't cheap and it shouldn't be because when you pick it up, you'll realize why. Like, I mean, that thing is, yeah, dude. The level of detail that those guys went into to get that thing right. I mean, we're not sponsored by those dudes. We went down to SHOT Show and met them for the first time, actually. I mean, but when you pick it up, you'll realize they're nasty. So I'd say right now, not being sponsored, not just, Cobalt's probably my favorite to shoot right now. Even with the break that I'm not too wild about. I'm kind of messing around with some stuff, so my last couple thousand rounds have been with a suboptimal break, I guess. Probably that Cobalt. I don't know, man, what do you think?
It is legit.
It is, dude. Like,
yeah. It's like you know, if you want to talk about price, it's like getting a CAC without paying for a CAC. But it's a good rifle.
It is, dude.
Like, I kind of want one. I don't need another rifle. But if I was to buy one, I would buy one. Yeah, it's that tolerance though.
I mean, dude,
yeah.
It is like when you shoot that gun, there is no slop. No. And sometimes really what it is, like, I like to really grip down on a carbine, like really get dynamic with that thing. And when you pick it up, it's like it feels like this is a one of one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Cobalt right now out of those three. Okay, Richard wants to know, what sort of early warning devices, alarm systems, surveillance systems did you train to encounter? What did you actually encounter? And how would you overcome these? Most early warning that we ever came across was humans. Humans, dogs, picket lines. So if you guys don't know what a picket line is, say me and all my friends are coming to find you, and we are walking down a narrow path in the middle of wherever, and we are passing houses every 500 yards, every 50 feet, whatever. Like, it could be through a neighborhood, it could be whatever, but you enter the neighborhood, and that very first person is calling the very last person, the most nefarious motherfucker there, and telling him you are coming. And then everybody else is confirming it all the way down. He's passing my house. Yep, he's heading east. Yep, he's heading towards you. And a lot of the times, we can hear it. Like, we intercept the radios and you can just hear him. He's like, yep, they just called. Fuck. And now you know. So the closer you get, the more the hair on the back of your neck stands up. And how do we avoid that? We don't let them know we're there. Got to be really, really quiet. Got to be where no one expects you to be. And you have to move at a pace through terrain that normal people can't do. That's how you make the timeline. You know, if I have to get from A to Z and it would take a normal person 6 hours to walk there, I have to be able to do it in 4, so I have enough time to do whatever I need to on the other side. It's just a very hard hybrid to have between, you know, all the logistics that support that move, and then getting there and then not being compromised yourself. Like, we talk about it, like not kicking over the can, not hitting the gate with all your metal dragging down, now it's all for nothing. Like, you just spent 6 hours being a ninja through the fucking quorum call, and you get right to the front gate and fuck, boom, 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 boom. So yeah. I haven't seen any cameras. We definitely went through courses to check for cameras. IRs and thermals, and you can pick out the IR lights. Yeah, there's a bunch of different tricks you can do to try to spot that stuff before you actually make your last little approach in there. But I never came across those overseas, mainly dogs, the human aspect. But I mean, now, dude, you got to think about everything, dude.
Yep.
Like, even a Ring camera. Dude, that Ring camera ruin your day. It just will. Teslas ruin your day. You walk past them, you pause there too long. Think about it. Most of those Teslas have that side window cam.
Yeah, they got all the cameras 360.
Takes a picture of you, dude. Like, if you were patrolling down the street and I was going to go over and raid your house tonight, and I paused and I took a kneel down next to a Tesla, and that camera turned on, and now it has a side profile of my face. I look over, now it's got a full frontal. Like, you're hosed, dude. You just are. ATM cameras, surveillance cameras, CCTV, everything in between. This whole place is wired up for cameras. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do in 2023 and be successful. Thank God most people overseas don't have that. At least not where we were. But yeah, I mean, we're trained to go against a number of those type of things, but the only real one I can remember is kind of like a tripwire, like an early warning device. Seen broken glass. They'll break down glass, they'll throw it in front of the door so you crack on it, the dogs go off, that whole thing. A lot of animals that I feel were put in strategic places to act as early warning devices. Like horses in the middle of the fucking house. Full-grown cattle so big they couldn't get out of the house. Like they were going to have to slaughter them inside the house. I don't know why they had them in there, but they were real fucking loud, especially when you walked in.
How do you mitigate that?
I mean, you just can't. Like you fling open a door and there is a full-grown cow in the middle of this room. You're like, what the fuck? And like I don't know how you got that thing in here.
Yeah.
Like there's no way to get him out. Like it's a full-grown cow. He's just in the middle of his house.
Would that be like a top 10 for you? Weird shit.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you see some weird shit.
I bet.
Some of the stuff they hoard. Oof. I mean, like you ask any of the SF guys that like live with those dudes, any of that shit. I mean, they do the weirdest shit, dude. Like, I mean, you'll be doing like SSC in a house, and like you're going through books, you're going through all this shit, and you'll pull out this bag, and it looks like heroin or some shit, and you'll open up, and it's literally a Ziploc bag just been broke off like a dime bag, but it's fucking pubic hair.
Why?
Oh, bro, I've come across a dozen of those at least. I had no idea. No idea.
I have to hit Google.
Oh, dude, you go up and ask Cole. I mean, you find the weirdest shit, dude. Weird.
What?
But yeah, early warning device. Dude, I think I hit one a couple times with like trip wires that probably like jingle bells and shit like that. Those little separation pieces. It's like you hit a line, it basically breaks the sensor. Probably stuff like that. And it's hard to tell, and I say that just because like when you know, and when you have been so quiet, it's creeping yourself out, and then you get compromised, it leads you to wonder why. Like how did you know we were here? And it happens to the best of us. But I mean, there are some times where there's no fucking way. There's no way. For the time of night you come, for the weather, the wind conditions, like it's loud as shit. And I know you're sleeping. That how are you awake right now? How is everybody awake? Multiple part question on watches. What are you looking for in a watch? Dark colors, low reflectivity, any smart function. How do you pick your watch for your days, depending on what activity you might be doing? In the teams, did you get to pick your own watch or were you issued it? What is your favorite watch currently you own? And is there anything on your wish list? Dude, I used a Casio G-Shock for 90% everything. I used that Nixon for probably 4 or 5 years. Got issued a Casio Mudman. It was like a G-Shock update that, didn't do anything. We got issued a Suntos, and then the batteries would die. If you turn on the GPS, you have like 4 hours. So a lot of times we'd upload a couple points in there, like E&E points. Like if all shit goes to hell, everybody dies but you, just go to this point. And it was usually a really, really long walk, like that way. And that's all you really had. But if you turned it on, you were kind of hosed, man. It wasn't good. I know guys ran the heart rate monitors with them too, and it just drains the batteries. I think I mean, we wore Rolex overseas for a long time. Casio G-Shock. If I had to pick one for operation, it'd be Casio G-Shock with no alarm set, no chime. That's really it, is being able to sit down meticulously and hit over the function. Because, I mean, you've seen a bunch of guys, like, we're climbing up and over the walls, and there's an alarm set on his phone or on his watch on a G-Shock on target. I've probably seen it 3 or 4 times. Climbing up and over a wall, like right at set point, and this G-Shock starts going off. And as soon as it does, everybody's, why in the fuck would you have a timer? Well, I know why. It's the time he needs to be calling his wife back home because he didn't know he was going on off tonight. And it went off because we didn't have cell phones back then. You did everything off your time. So you usually had a G-Shock for the time you're in, you switch a date, now it's over there. You'd set an alarm. And that shit went away right after that. So no more alarms on phones. I'd say I pick my watch for the day based on the likelihood that I'm going to have to do something so dynamic that I'm going to have to break it.
Right.
I, like, when I'm just walking around here, I'll wear a nice watch. If we were going to go out to the range, get real dynamic, roll around the rocks and shit, I'd put on that Nixon. I'd put on a G-Shock. Yeah, usually just that Nixon. Yeah, I don't care if something I'll smash the screen. I don't care. But other than that, outside of knowing that I'm absolutely going to roll around the pavement with it, I just wear whatever I want. Go-to watch is either a Rolex or a Panerai. Those are my 2 favorite. Got an Omega when we were in London. James Bond.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice watch. A favorite watch I currently own. Probably, I got a deep sea Rolex. It's the biggest one they make outside of that 50 millimeter, and that's on my wish list. So one watch I want is that 50 millimeter titanium.
It's a big boy.
Oh yeah, dude, it's huge. It's massive. I mean, this is a 47. This one's fucking huge.
It's like you got Flavor Flav
Oh, dude.
neck watch on your wrist.
Yeah, but like any of you guys are in the watch thing, because I mean, we trade DMs all the time back and forth, and guys are like, yo, what is that watch? What is that watch? It's a Panerai. It's made in Italy, and I always referred to it as the Italian Frogman watch. Like, they used to issue Rolex to the team guys back in the day, and then they went Grand Seiko and G-Shock and a bunch of other shit in between. But I was in a deployment, I can't remember where we were, somewhere overseas. It was shitty, and a bunch of the Italian Frogmen were there, and they're super cool, man. They always got good wine, obviously got good pasta, they're making their own bread, like, they always have pizza ovens and shit. It's fucking wild. Yeah, dude, it's great. They get mozzarella flown in. It's awesome. But those dudes were literally wearing Panerai watches, and I couldn't believe it, because I mean, in the States, you don't see them very often. If a dude walks in wearing one, like, it takes note. You're like, holy shit. They all had them on. I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I was like, well, as soon as I get the opportunity to buy one, I'm definitely going to buy one. And now I got a couple. But, yeah, Panerai is super cool. So if you ever get a chance, go check those dudes out. Did we already talk knives?
Yeah, we talked about your Winkler and your
You already posted that.
your hatchet. Yeah.
It's a Tomahawk, Manny.
Tomahawk. Sorry.
Hatchet's for cutting fucking firewood. I got one here. I see your old unit moved away from the 416 and is running the Noveski that we've seen images of. Do you think the SIG will be adopted? I think so. I think so. Rattler configuration.
Yep.
What's that new one? The new Spear.
Spear LT.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Spear
That
LT
might make
is
it.
the thinner one.
Yeah, like that one might make a run, and I say that just because I know a bunch of the overseas guys using it, a bunch of guys in the UK, and a bunch of the other units. But I mean, they just got those Noveskis. I don't think those things are going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
And those things run great. So. Those guys make great shit. You guys still plan on doing your own podcast? Dude, if I had time to do my own podcast, I would. We just, in this configuration, man, we don't have the space for it. And I think being a representative of the brand, we can't turn out some half-ass shit, to be honest. And I think with this time and the time allotted, I don't think it'd be up to the standard. Like, we'd want, I mean, people reference like Sean Ryan. Like, dude, that's his full-time deal, man. Like, that takes full commitment. Like that dude is prepping for those interviews for weeks. Weeks, dude. Like, I mean, he's got a calendar built out, I guarantee, all the way through 24 on everybody he's going to have on. It takes a long time to try to coordinate that. And we just don't have the manpower right now. I mean, dude, we're at 24, 25 employees here, and we are busting at the literal fucking seams. Yeah, dude, like, we just don't have the time. If we did, then yeah, we'd do one. And I bet we will. I bet we'll start doing some kind of podcast-ish, light, something. I'd say something probably this year if we get the right space. It'll probably look like that live stream kind of format, but I'd like to bring in some high-level people. I don't know, I've been talking about a bunch of different concepts, but maybe start off with a YouTube series and go to something else, but to bring in, I think what dudes would get the most out of is listening to pros. Like people who were at a super high level in their field and just, the story, the struggle, the intensity it takes to hit whatever level you're going to hit. I don't care what you do, but people that are at a super high level. I think, and then I think about the transition outside of whatever that is, that sport, that, guys retire from boxing, guys retire from football, anything else, to be able to talk about what that struggle was like. Because it doesn't matter. Like, I don't give a shit if you're a paramedic or if you're a psychologist. It doesn't really matter. Like, when you step away from something you've been doing your entire life and you were the best you could be at that one thing, that next day is really fucking hard, man. That's why you see a lot of people that don't retire. They just have to keep going because they don't want to stop and be idle. I kind of respect that, but I also respect the honesty of, dude, I sacrificed everything. I didn't go to my senior prom. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't have girlfriends in college. I didn't do any of this shit because all I had to do was swim in that fucking pool. Like, oh. Like, yeah. There was no social life. There was no nothing. And if I finally let my hair down, the paparazzi took pictures of me and tried to ruin my life. Like, god damn, dude. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be fascinating to be able to sit down with, like a Michael Phelps. Like, how cool would that be? Yeah. Like, the greatest to ever do it? Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Greg said, really like the shout out you guys did for Bald Bros and the leather patches for the fallen officers. Will you encourage more things like this? Maybe hold a Warrior Wednesday to bring awareness, bring other people in the spotlight? I'd say yeah. I mean, without talking to the boys upstairs, I mean, that was super humbling. That was an honor for us to be able to do and help out and support that and kind of champion that cause. Yeah, I mean, I'd love to. It's really kind of what we have a platform for, is to share information, share stories, and connect people. So, I mean, if you guys got some stuff, you got something super heavy that you think would benefit the group, because God, it's going to sound fucked up. I'm going to say it anyway. Like, we didn't promote those hats just to raise awareness or just to raise money for the families of the fallen. I hope it didn't come off like that. I mean, we were absolutely doing that, but it was more the awareness of the sacrifice that they made. Like, I didn't want that to be overpowered with, oh, we lost 2 officers. Like, whoa. Listen to the story and listen to the sacrifice and the known threat they were dealing with. And then the unconditional love to go back for your mate. Like, that was, I mean, we sat upstairs and listened to the story from Alec, and it was like heavy, dude. Super heavy. And I didn't want that thing to be overshadowed, like, up against some pretty intense odds, and to go back for your guy after already being shot, still being able to maneuver after being shot multiple times. It was just some really heroic shit going on, and I thought that story deserved to be told. I thought you guys would benefit from it. Like, I don't care what team you're at. Like, if you want to go the whole way, man, that's a perfect segue into it. Like, how far are you willing to go? That far. Like, holy shit.
Proved it.
Yeah, dude, like, put in perspective for a lot of people. Like, there ain't no easy day being a cop, man. There's just not. Dude, not at all. Okay, here's one. Justin. Hey DJ, I work in the mental health industry. Recently witnessed a suicide by hanging at work. I was a first responder on scene, and now I have to leave work and head straight home. I'm focusing on my physical health to counteract my inability to straighten out my mental health until the next few months of psychological sessions. Any advice and practices I can utilize during my downtime, any words appreciated. Love what you, Cole, and GBRS are doing. One, I appreciate that. I appreciate what you were doing. Obviously, mental health is near and dear to our hearts. Lost a lot of friends to suicide. I struggle with it. I know Cole does. I think most people do. I think most people just don't want to talk about it. And I think most people are fine just having that stigma put on them that, I'm fucking Superman and nothing affects me and look how tough I am. Nah, man, that ain't true at all. I've seen a bunch of shit that really fucked me up. I've done a bunch of shit that's really fucked me up. And I think that I owe it to the group. To be like, dude, I'm not okay. I'm not. But I'm working on it one day at a time. And I think that's the point. Like, you don't have to be okay. I'm not expecting you to be okay. If you are at this point in your life, you've probably led a pretty boring ass life. Everybody's struggling with something. It's like, do you let that define you, or do you share those pains and those experiences so other people don't have to make the same ones? But for that right there, you got to try to separate it. And I know that's hard, and I can sit up here on my high horse like I'm great at it, but I'm really not. But that's why we talk about like this 20-minute walks, 10-minute reset on the way home, to be able to, okay, I've got to cut this dude out the rafters, drop him in this bag, clean this scene, and then I got to go home and have a tea party. Like, what am I going to do now? Because you have to be able to compartmentalize it. You have to be able to throw a wall up and throw that fucker into overdrive and go home and get mascara and blush put on you. You got to have a tea party. You got to sell that tea party. Because your kids don't need to see it, especially if they're young. But if you can't have open dialogue with the old lady, or with your partner, significant other, best friend, if you can't have any kind of communication, that's not where you want to be, man. It's just not. It's exhausting to just let that weigh on you all day long. And I know. I lived that masquerade for a decade, dude. It sucked, because the very first time you ever tried to open up about some shit and the door gets slammed in your face, it's like, ooh, I'm not going to do that again. And then you do what everybody else does. You just wall that shit up like, nah, it's fine. I'll deal with it later. I'll process it later. Well, one day you're going to wake up and there will be no tomorrow, and that'll be the only thing you do think about, the only thing that consumes you all day. So I try to take those 10-minute little breaks. Dude, I self-dialogue all day. Like, if you dudes would put a GoPro in my truck, you'd have a fucking heart attack. I have full conversations. Full out loud. Full conversations. But most of them are kind of subconscious. But a lot of it, it's a self-talk between me and my supposed therapist. And it's her asking me detailed questions that I don't want to answer. And I'm answering it to essentially myself. Like, I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't have to be. I've set enough sessions to know what they're going to ask me every time. And the things I don't want to talk about, I know exactly what they are. So a lot of times I'll just say it to myself. And I'll work through the entire dialogue back and forth exactly like how we're doing now. And I'll paint the picture so vivid in my mind that I'm pretty much in the fucking couch. And I can share. I can just share information. I can share what truly bothers me and what keeps me up at night. The things I wish I never did and the things I wish I did do. Kind of all of it. And it helps me, man. Like those 20-minute walks when I'm solo, I'm not verbalizing that because I don't want to freak the neighbors out, but I am internally. I'm going through dialogue in my head pretty much all day. Like, unless I'm doing this shit, I'm probably in my own thoughts. I understand, like, I got a bunch of this heavy shit I got to work through, and you guys ask some super heavy questions that deserve a thoughtful answer, and I have to sit back and process whatever trauma you're going through. I have to regurgitate that, put that on myself, and then spit out an answer. So I take it on, man. I mean, man, I've heard some fucking terrible ones. And it's usually from the first responders. Yep. It's usually from the firemen, usually from the police. I mean, dude, if the general public knew what you dudes had to deal with on a daily basis, they'd all just shut the fuck up. They just would. Your recruiting would probably go down, but at least we'd be honest. You guys deal with some super traumatic shit all day. and we're all super appreciative of it. You know, Manny's married into law enforcement. You know, I love firemen. I love police officers. I just do. I don't know, man. I don't want to get on my soapbox and tell a big fucking hero story, but you guys got a very hard job. And I hate that you guys deal with that stigma too, that firemen can't have emotions or police officers are pussies if, you know, they see something that upsets them. Like, are you seeing all the shit on the fucking news?
Yeah.
Like, you seeing some of the shit that people do to each other? You ever seen the shit that parents do to their kids? Like, I talked to dudes on here, they show up to scenes and moms would put infants in microwaves and turned them on for 10 minutes and left them. And the baby lived.
Oh.
Do you have any idea what that fucking kid looked like? Dude.
Not good.
Well, that dude's got to go home to his 10-month-old.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You don't think that dude's fucked up? Like, you don't want him to talk about it? Okay.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've never had to deal with that. I mean, I've had to deal with a bunch of weird shit, bad stuff, traumatic stuff, but not like that. And not in that type of proximity. And I think that's what everybody is failing to realize. Like, when some bad shit would happen overseas or during whatever, we would be isolated overseas in a camp with just grown-ass people. Like, they would fly in people for you to talk to. You wouldn't talk to them. You just eat Ambien and go to bed. Then you'd fly home and they'd give you a vacation. And by then, you could compartmentalize. You could shut it off. And then after you do that 5 or 6 times, you kind of just compartmentalize everything that happened inside of that block, and you just never talk about it again. The trauma's still there. You're still wearing it. You're just not verbalizing it.
At some point, it comes pouring out.
Fuck yeah. Yep, eventually it's going to come out. I tell you, man, the 20-minute walks, do them first thing in the morning. Do a 20-minute walk first thing in the morning and just pump yourself with positive vibes, good energy, and how you're going to set the standard for the whole day. And then at night, reflect on how you did on it. That's what I do. It's like my self-reflection time. What did I do today that was bad for the brand, that was bad for my team, bad for my family? Did I say something that I shouldn't have? Was there something I should have said that I didn't? And I kind of just roll through the whole thing. And then I go through kind of what's really weighing on me. Do I have anxiety about this? Do I have reservations about that? And more just a self-check-in. Because let's be honest, you're probably not going to talk to a professional for a while. Start getting used to it, man. Talk to yourself. That way when you get the opportunity to sit down in front of a pro, you're not one of those guys like I used to be. I'd sit down with a therapist, and it'd take us 10 interviews until I told her anything about me. I just sat there. That was a joke at Nyko. How's the weather? Cloudy. How's the weather? I'd sit there for an hour. I just stare at them. I don't have a fucking thing to say to you. Until eventually I had something to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all just came out. Yeah, so if I had any advice to you, 20-minute walks, 10-minute reset in the car before you go home and spill any of that shit onto the family. And I do self-dialogue, man. I do self-dialogue. When you're driving the car, get used to having the conversation you're going to have with a professional or someone you need to have it with. So when you get the opportunity, it'll roll off your tongue. Package it up, nice bite-sized formula, a little elevator speech, and then send it. Once you do, it'll just start to roll and you'll be more comfortable telling that story or whatever's bothering you. Sorry you're going through that shit, but I appreciate the sacrifice, appreciate your service. Did I see you guys wearing Adaptive X jeans? Yeah, I'm wearing them now. Yeah, if you guys haven't tried those jeans, they're fucking great. Those are my favorite pair of jeans. They don't have the IWB waistband in them. I don't do all that stuff. But as far as, I don't know, we're coming out with some new garments later on in the year. Definitely gonna do some jeans down the road. But right now, if I had to tell you anything, like those jeans that Dom makes, the best jeans I ever wore. I love them. They got a little bit of Japanese stretch to them, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, they're super comfortable, and they're built for dudes. Like, he's really athletic too. So, yeah, I mean, I think that had to be his goal. Like, let me make a pair of jeans I can do my whole day and I don't have to take them off. Like, you can squat in them, kickbox in them, you can shoot at the range, do whatever. Got the dinner in them. I like them. Oh, no. Okay. Hey, dudes, my question is, what's your guys' opinion on enlisting in the military at an older age? I'm 25 for context. I'm navigating medical waivers, and again for context, I broke my leg bad when I was in high school, low tib fib break, and ended up with plates and screws. Is this even possible? I have a burning desire to serve my country, and I have felt guilty that I haven't done it this far. Some advice from you guys would be greatly appreciated. I wouldn't wait, dude. Like if you're trying to go, and I say, dude, I had a guy in my buds class that was 30, 34. So he had an age waiver, and he ended up not making it because he had a fucking bad attitude. Not physically. I mean, physically he was a stud. Dude, you can totally do it at 25. I know a bunch of old ass dudes. Like 25 is not old. 25 for me would have been old. Like when I was 25, going through would have been rough. And we talk about it like going through green team or going through buds. I'd go through buds again before I would green team. Like it was just harder, more physically, but yeah, I mean, you can do it. You just got to be real honest, man. Like you're not going to get better with age. You're going to hit a certain threshold. And if that leg is really giving you issues now, then I take a hard look at it, because what you don't want to do, and I'm being honest, I'm going to be a dick. If that leg is giving you issues, now I'm not saying it is, but if it is, and you're trying to be, special forces, so you're going to be a PJ, right? And you don't make it, you are going to the regular Air Force for 4 years. If you pull that shit in the Navy, you are going to ride a ship for 4 years. They ain't letting you out of it. There is no pass go, like, oh, his leg's better now with some rehab. Like, it's not one of those things, man. You got to weigh the risk. I tell dudes now, like, gotta hate saying this, I'm gonna say it anyway, though. Dude, be a cop. Like, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? You're still a cop, right? You are still protecting and serving. But, I mean, I don't know, you're not... God, it sounds fucked up, but I mean, like, there's not enough cops as there fucking is, man. Like, right now, like, we're not at a war overseas. Like, I get trying to serve your country, dude. I tell most people now, man, like, if you really want to do some shit, be a really good fucking police officer. Be a really good fireman, dude. Right? Like right now, it's not World War II. It's not 2001. Right? Like, we're not fighting these huge overseas battles. Like, they're booting... The news doesn't tell you this. They're booting people out of the military left and right. If you give them a reason, if you don't make rank fast enough, they're just processing you out of the Navy. I mean, they just are. Higher tenure, like, you're gone. Dude's getting pushed out. Yeah, man. Yeah, if you can't make rank, you get a couple opportunities, they're pushing you out. I tell you, man, like, if you really want to serve and you're at all worried about trying to navigate that, and now you end up on the wrong side of 30 because you've been trying to fuck around with these waivers, which is what they're going to do. I mean, they're going to play games, man. They're going to tell you this and tell you that, and you'll want to be a Navy SEAL, and they'll say, well, you can't get that contract, just join the Navy anyway, and we'll work something out on the backside. They won't. They're just going to hose you over. So I'd give an honest assessment. Is your leg 100% and this is just a formality? Like, dude, this leg doesn't even bother me. I just have pins and screws and I have to get a waiver. If that's the case, then I'd say send it. If you have any reservations that thing is going to hold up, I'd be a cop, be a fireman. Right? Like, those dudes are fucking badass, and we need more of them. We need more good ones, too. That's what I tell you, man. Like, it's not closed, you can't join the military. There are plenty of options to serve, and some really good ones. But I appreciate that question. I appreciate your future service and whatever you do. I see you guys using pistols without a comp on them. Have you guys found them to be ineffective or worth the money? Question. Yeah, I mean, run them with comps, without. I'll be honest. We had a debate. We were shooting a single port comp and a double port comp, and then I shot an X5 Legion stock out of the box. That X5 Legion stock out of the box, I was like, oh man. And then, I'll be honest again, they're a bunch of shit talkers. Like, oh, well, you got to shoot comps for pistols. Like, you don't need to, dickhead. We're just testing them, dude. Like, I don't know. I've never shot a comp pistol before. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, people are like, oh my God. Dude, I've only been out of the military a couple, dude. Like, I didn't have a comp pistol. Like, I didn't run this shit. Like, I'm still experimenting, man. I'm still trying to find ammo that can get chewed through a single port, double port, a staccato, everything else in between. Like, we're still testing, man. So, yeah, I mean, we run them with or without. Like, Fuck, we got in here. No, man, you locked me, you fucker. Nah.
Girl's gone.
Well, I don't know. I was just gonna open up the bottom one, just see what we got here. Yeah, dude. Like, so comp, no comp, no comp, comp, no comp. I mean, shit, boys. Like, we got a bunch of shit down here. Like, comp, no comp, no comp. I mean, yeah, dude. Like, it isn't like that's all we shoot. We shoot all kinds of weird stuff. It's mainly just for our own education, dude, because I didn't go to school for this. Like, I don't know how to do any of this shit. We're just trial and error. And so when we go out the range and we're training with somebody, or we get some weird SWAT team who's allowed to do whatever the fuck they want to, and we get on the flat range and they start having light strikes, malfunctions, we gotta look at the ammo. What configuration you running, what spring you running, and now we can try to solve it. Because if not, we're just gonna ruin an entire training day. We gotta be able to fix it real quick. So I'm not gonna know unless we fuck it all up.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Is it true that bananas weren't curved before DJ started doing the thunderous clap? Dude, that's absolutely true. Those fuckers were straight as an arrow, man. Scared him back into submission. It's all right. I'm curious, besides dynamic and deliberate entry methods, and of course panning, Israeli limited penetration, can you guys explain that or show other tactics? What do you guys think are the most effective ways to do it? It's kind of one of those questions. Mm-hmm. Without the context, without the content of the whole message, like that whole thing, what's better, dynamic, deliberate, or whatever the limited penetration thing is? I don't really know what that is. Probably just quick peeking from the threshold, I imagine. What's the lighting condition? What's the scenario? How many guys do I have with me? Am I there to kill somebody, capture somebody, rescue somebody? Do I have dogs? Do I have explosives? Do I have diversionary devices? 2-story, single-story, multi-story? Neighboring houses? Out in the middle of fucking nowhere? What time of day? What season? What's the temperature? What are the floors made out of? Those are all the questions I ask. Because all the rest of that shit doesn't matter. When you plan out all the other stuff, at a certain point, it won't matter at all. Dynamic, deliberate, doesn't matter. You gotta be able to control all the rest of it, or at least have it in your planning space, inside of your head space. That way you can change it up as presented. Because I've been in plenty of situations where the outside of the building looked like a literal fortress. It looked like we'd have tile floors and big, thick, heavy doors, and you walk in, there's not a single door inside the structure. None. Everything's an open door. They don't even build doors. You walk in the first room, you're like, fuck. Like you're in a kitchen. You're in a kitchen about like this. Like there's nothing. And it's just in a room adjacent off of me. You're like, what the fuck? Like they make no sense. It's like it's not airsoft. Like it's not a fucking video game. Like they make no sense. Mm-hmm. But you know for sure there's multiple dudes in there with guns. Multiple dudes. Now go. You're like, ah shit. Well, it's dark as shit outside. The kitchen I came into completely dark, but the room I'm going to is completely lit. Perfect. There's a huge banister going down at a 45. Those things are lit and the stairwell's dark. Go. Now we're doing mixed medium. Mixed medium with a 180-degree turn aiming back to the stairs. I mean, there's complex problems and you have to solve them without stopping. That's the issue. Like deliberate, dynamic, or whatever else in between. You gotta solve for all the other stuff. There's plenty of times, I mean, if I'm just doing solo, I don't know why I'd be doing solo CQB.
Right.
But I also don't know why I'd be doing team CQB either. Maybe I'll get a call one day. Maybe me and Cole have to suit it up, have to go grab some boys.
Someday.
Go down there and have to get it. I mean, really, I think situation's going to dictate. There's nothing wrong with any of them. There are definitely times where it's better to just fight from the threshold and do deliberate panning and be very methodical about everything. Foot placement, lighting conditions, overexposure, body language, everything. Like you have to be able to read in all of that. Because a lot of the times, I'll just be honest, you just don't know. You just don't. It's not like there's a huge billboard up there that says, take this dynamic. Like, this is for sure hostage rescue. Like, for sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I've also been on a bunch of those, like where 100% there was a hostage there, and there wasn't. There was just a bunch of bad dudes with guns and suicide vests, and if you ran in there, you would have gotten blown the fuck up, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't know. I'd say whatever you are going to do, if you do it at 100% of your ability, and believing with confidence in what you are doing, where your feet are going, where your gun is presented, everything, you do it at the utmost of your ability, with the mindset that there is a dude with a gun, because that's, to me, that's the worst case scenario. It's a dude with a gun in the room I am going into. If I take it like I know this dude with a gun in there, that alleviates a lot of problems. Like, would I do that knowing there's a dude in that room? Well, what if it's hostage rescue? If you knew it was hostage rescue, you heard her screaming in that next room, and you heard shh, shh, go. Do it just like that. However you would do that, that's the way you need to do it. And I think that's how you make them all the safest. Treat it like it's real. Become a method actor, even in training, even when you're doing dry movement. If you visualize the threat, the temperature, the pressure to perform, everything, if you do that, the reps all start to look the same and become very repeatable, and people can read your body language from across the room. I think that's the easiest way for me. Yeah, do it like your life depends on it, so you can be real clean. Fellas, I appreciate you guys. Hope answer a lot of the questions. I got some more we got to get through. Guys, keep these things coming in. Really, for me, it's kind of selfish. For me, Cole, Manny, it gives us a pulse on the audience, gives us a pulse on what you guys want. And if you guys really want to know, write it in there, man. I'll get to it. As long as it's not some weird shit where it's breaking some NDA we've signed, or some kind of thing overseas that I just can't talk about, or something like that, I'll answer it, man. Like, if you want me to be brutally honest, I fucking will. And I think that's what guys want. I think that's what guys need. If you guys are struggling with some shit and you want to talk about it, write it down there. We'll get after it. You want me to redact your name? Just write it at the end. Please don't say my name. I'll send it. Whatever you guys want. We're here to help, man. Here to spread positive vibes, good messages, good energy across the room. And I appreciate you guys for the support. Be safe, boys. We'll talk soon.